Ladies and gentlemen, please take your seats.
You know, sometimes it takes a couple of bad boys to navigate this crazy landscape that is Hollywood, and guess what? If you're within the sound of my voice, that must mean you're in the seats with once more. As always, my name is Dave Voigt, and I'm the host of this podcast, where we sit down with a wide-ranging variety of entertainment industry professionals, and we pick their brain about current projects, state of the industry, how they got started, and so very much more, in a light and in a conversational fashion. Now, you know, if you like how we do things around here, I'm going to go out on a limb and assume that you do, because let's face it, you're listening right now. And if you are listening, keep listening and subscribe. Hit that subscribe button. Give us a 5-star rating on your podcast provider of choice. We're available pretty much everywhere. Places like Apple, Amazon, Spotify, Google. Plus, we archive every single one of our episodes over at our In the Seats YouTube channel. So you can give us a like and subscribe there as well. God knows we would appreciate it. Also, don't hesitate to check us out on social media. We're on the Facebook, the Twitter, the Instagram, the Letterboxd, the TikTok, the Threads, and probably a few other places too that I've forgotten, at In the Seats for all sorts of fun updates. And finally, and I do dare say most importantly, please pay us a visit over at In the Seats, intheseats.ca, for all the latest and greatest from the world of film, television, basically the moving image at large. Because guess what? If we love to watch it and write about it and talk about it, we love it even more when you come by and read about it and listen about it. So please do us that kindness and pay us a visit. On this episode, well, the bad boys of cinema are back. Will Smith and Martin Lawrence are back on the streets fighting crime one more time in Miami. In Bad Boys Ride or Die, in another chapter of, somewhat of a Will Smith redemption tour and a few other things. But it's a fun movie. It really it hits the formula pretty steadily, but it's a good movie, and I mean it's a lot of fun. I mean I hope people go get to see it. But returning to the franchise are two young men who directed the third part, and also they've had some ups and downs. They've directed some other stuff in Hollywood, some episodes of Miss Marvel. They did a great independent movie called Rebel. They also did The Batgirl, which will never see the light of day, unfortunately. But their names are Adil El Arbi and Bilal Fallah. If I mispronounced some names, I do apologize. But two fantastic, frenetic storytellers who really have a great sense of visual style and know how to make a good piece of popcorn in the style of the man who sort of influenced them growing up, the one and only Jerry Bruckheimer. This is really throwback Bruckheimer cinema for the 21st century, and it's very well done. But we had a chance to talk with Adil and Bilal just about making this film, working with Will and Martin once again, and the Hollywood scene in general, and just sort of how they sort of navigate their lives as storytellers, going up and down on the road trying to make movies and have some fun in the process. But go see Bad Boys Ride or Die. It is in theaters this weekend. It is a hell of a lot of fun. But first, enjoy our talk with Adil and Bilal, because it's a pretty good one. But I mean, we'll get the ball rolling, because I know you guys got stuff to do. But I mean, first off, both of you, obviously, man, just thank you so much for the time today. I mean, congrats on this next chapter in the Bad Boys universe, man. It's a hell of a ride.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Now, I mean, I'm curious, like, were you like, because I forget the exact story. Like, were you guys contracted or brought in to do 3 and 4 initially, or was it after the success of 3 that they brought you back for 4? Like, I'm kind of curious on the origin story of that, because there felt like there was such a solid through line between 3 and 4 here, just to be able to sort of have the same energy and the same kind of vibe going in the story.
Well, we actually had a 2-picture contract with Sony. So after Bad Boys, we were supposed to do any movie with Sony, whatever it might be. But I think that towards the end of the production, we were fantasizing about, hey, what if there's a 4th one? Obviously, while we were making the 3rd one, we didn't know, because otherwise we would have had another title if we knew that there's going to be a 4th one. But, we were just playing like, hey, maybe if it works out, there might be a 4th movie. And it's really like the last day of really post-production, where we had to make the decision to put like that post-credit scene in it. And it was 50-50, like we really didn't know if we should do it or not. Flip the coin, just put that scene in the movie, and now we're doing Bad Boys 4.
I love it. Now, I mean, I'm curious, because obviously you guys bring such a really sort of unique distinct visual style to it all. And I mean, obviously, Michael in the first two are a hard sort of benchmark to kind of live up to, but you guys really have brought your own style to this. How do you manage to sort of capture that Bad Boys vibe, but still kind of stay true to who you guys are as filmmakers and storytellers?
Yeah, I think like we are huge fan of Jerry Bruckheimer's cinema, his movies. We grew up with that. We grew up with Michael Bay's movies. So for us, it's like we're fanboys, and we love also the 90s, 80s buddy cop movies. So that was really definitely something that shaped us. And what we bring to it is, I think we always want to do something that's something fresh, that's edgy, that's new. That's why we always we try to get inspiration from social media videos or like video games, because video games are huge now. And that's something that that I think just gives something different that you don't really see in other action movies, like like John Wick or Fast and Furious. So we really wanted to have our own kind of action comedy movie that really is different than the other ones.
Now, I'm curious, how is it, especially for you guys, when you're working with guys like Will and Martin? Because obviously, this film had like the style of action is so physical. I mean, and I mean, I know there's special effects and whatnot, but I mean, the scene towards the end in this one with the plane crash and just sort of the POV and everyone running and everything flying everywhere. I can imagine just to stage that, the physicality involved is a beast in and of itself.
Yeah, it's a lot of training. So Will and Martin, they this time they really wanted to go for it. Even though we said, okay, we still got stunt people on standby, great stunt coordinators and stunt guys that would always do like at least a couple of takes. But Will and Martin were adamant, like, okay, we trained for this for a year, so we got to show it we can do, and at least do the first couple of takes with us. And that's why we were able to go even further with the action, because they were really there, and they were willing to show that they still got it. And that gave us a lot of freedom in staging the action scenes with themselves, and have a clever editorial dance between them and the stunt guys. And that's why we think that this one is a more fun ride than the previous Bad Boys movie.
For sure, for sure. Now, I mean, I'm curious because I mean, I was talking with Bilal before he came on, Adil. I finally got to see Rebel last week, which I absolutely love.
Oh, thank
And
you.
I mean, while it's a very different movie, there's still like there's a through line of energy in this film. And I mean, I'm kind of curious, how does the job change for you guys when you're coming on to a shoot like Bad Boys, and you are directors for hire? Obviously, there's input, there's creative stuff going on, but it's not necessarily your show versus something like Rebel, which is entirely your show.
Yeah, we learn from both experiences. I think that Rebel, there's a lot of humanity in the characters. There's also a technical aspect of the war scenes that we then use into the action scenes. But I think that there's always like something personal. I think we have also for me and Bilal, Mike and Marcus, there's a connection between the two of them, right, Bilal?
Absolutely. For us, it's like it talks about the friendship, and it's what Adil and me, we feel we feel like we're the bad boys of cinema. So every movie that we make, there's always a deep personal connection. And like Adil said, the experience of making a big studio movie, you learn so much other things that you don't learn on smaller movies. You work with the biggest actors, legendary, experienced people. You have all the budget in the world. And you can make it really, really big. And with smaller movies, yeah, you can take a lot of creative risks, and that's what we did in Rebel. It's like a musical, and it talks about idols, so that's something you can not really do with a big budget. So that is what we love to do, alternate between the big Hollywood blockbuster movies and the the smaller personal movies.
Yeah, but there's still humanity in both. There's humanity with Mike and Marcus and the love that they have for each other, and there's also this spiritual awakening. So there is a lot of personal themes also for us in a Bad Boys movie.
No, totally. I mean, 100%. I'm with you on that. And I mean, I'm kind of curious, like, is there a preference between one or the other? Because I mean, obviously, you guys have had success in the studio system, but there's been some up and downs as well. I mean, I'm not going to ask you to talk about it because I'm sure you've done it ad nauseum, but there's been a bit of a roller coaster. At the end of the day, is there a better creative payoff between one and the other, or are they just different?
I think it's good to really have both, because as frustrating as it might be to work in a Hollywood project where you basically have a lot of cooks in the kitchen, it allows you to do stuff with techniques on a technical level that you would never be able to do in Belgium, in a small country like Belgium, and also to work with the biggest actors, and at the same time it forces you also to sell your ideas. You cannot just come up with an idea and just, okay, let's do it. You really got to think them through, which makes you a more deeper artist, I would say. By the time you come back to Belgium, you're not just gonna do anything, but at the same time, Belgium, yeah, there's no money, but there's a total creative freedom, and this allows you to take risks. And if something works out in Belgium, then you can take those techniques back into Hollywood and have that kind of freshness to it. So I think that for us, that's the ideal combination, to have both. We really love both situations.
I mean, you guys are in a unique perspective because honestly, not a lot of people will equate, filmmakers from Belgium with sort of the Bruckheimer mentality and spirit, and sort of the way you guys managed to sort of marry the two is a beautiful thing. And I mean, I gotta ask, like, what were the movies and the moments in your life that made you want to get into this business? Because I mean, like I said, there's a little bit of sort of that personal, that character-driven stuff, but then there's sort of the bombast, the extreme that, again, which is just popcorn that so many people love across the world.
Yeah, it's Jerry Bruckheimer movies, man. Jerry Bruckheimer when you grew up in the cinema. Yeah.
Yeah, if you really, when we were kids when we saw Bad Boys, so it was really, I was playing at school as if I was a bad boy. It was like the coolest stuff. So, and if you look at Jerry Bruckheimer movies, they're really all about character. That's the thing that you remember of every movie. It's like, Mike and Marcus, or Axel Foley or Jack Sparrow. Those characters are iconic and timeless, and they inspired me so much that you want to be part of that.
Yeah, and you go in school with your buddies, and they talk about, hey, have you seen Eddie Murphy in Beverly Hills Cop? Have you seen this latest Will Smith movie, Enemy of the State? Have you seen Armageddon, The Rock, Gone in 60 Seconds, National Treasure, Pirates of the Caribbean? So it's every time, like Armageddon, all these movies, all the big Hollywood movies they go to see in the theater, it's always the same logo, it's always the same name, Jerry Bruckheimer, Top Gun.
Yeah, totally.
So it's like, oh, this is a special guy. No, regardless of the director, there is a Jerry Bruckheimer / Don Simpson brand. And that was just the big dream, to be able to do something like that one day.
Well, I mean, for you guys, at the end of the day, does it come down to character? Because I mean, when I think about it, the line between, a Bruckheimer or say like a Bergman, at the end of the day, it's all going to be about character. Like for you guys, when you're working on a project or you're finding something, is character the core of it, like the Mike and Marcuses of it all?
Yeah. I think that's the thing. That's what Jerry told us at the very first meeting now 10 years ago. It was 2015. It was, yeah, we want to do big action movies. And Jerry said, calm down. It's all about the characters. And he was like, oh, Jerry Bruckheimer is that. And it is, because it is Maverick. It is Axel Foley,
Totally.
Mike and Marcus, Sparrow. Those are the characters, and you put them in any situation, and it's cool. But it is really, you go to see these movies because of it is all the characters of Armageddon, or Nick Cage and Sean Connery in The Rock. So he understands why people really are engaged in those movies, how big they might be.
Now, final question. I won't make you spoil it, but Reggie gets some much needed love in this movie. How rewarding was it for you guys to sort of give that character a bit of respect, sort of in the end arc of it all? Because obviously when we meet him in 2, like there's no respect, but then now in your movies, he's all grown up.
I think that the Reggie scene from Bad Boys 2 is like the scene I've seen the most in my life. I've seen that like on repeat a million times, and it stays so funny and unbelievable. So to see him, and the actor Dennis who plays Reggie, he's like totally unexperienced actor. So for him, he never did anything else than playing Reggie, and to see his story arc, coming from this young guy who wants to take the daughter out of Martin, to 20 years later in the Bad Boys 4, to see his payoff, his storyline. I think that's one of the most spectacular storylines in cinema. So yes, Reggie, Reggie stole the movie, bro.
Well, guys, Bad Boys Ride or Die is absolutely fantastic, and I mean, I can't wait for more people to see it. But I mean, again, both of you just congrats on the work, man, and honestly, thank you both so much for the time today. And maybe one day Marcus will finally learn the words to the song. That's all
Yes,
Yeah,
I'm for.
yeah.
absolutely.
I think we all need to learn that.
Yes,
Absolutely, we all need to know the words of the song. I'm with you on that.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
boys, just again, congrats on the work and enjoy the ride. I can't wait to see what's next.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you. Much love, man.
Brother.
All right, bye,
Thank you.
guys.
And don't forget to visit our friends over at Bay Street Video for all your DVD, Blu-ray rental, or purchasing needs this summer, as they are still open for curbside and some mailing delivery as well. Over at 1172 Bay Street, Toronto, Ontario, Canada, you can give them a call at 416-964-9088. That's 416-964-9088. Or send them an email at baystreetvideoto@gmail.com for any of your DVD and Blu-ray needs.